back to Kitty Unfiltered. My name is Kitty and this is Tutorialista, the series where I take, well, tutorials and try to figure out if I can actually make them work. Today's tutorial comes from this little gingerbread spice how-to glamour guide booklet that came with the Too Faced gingerbread spice palette, and we will be doing the first one in here called Spice is Nice. It's got a nice little ombre winged liner thing there. Very pretty. One thing I'm worried about is obviously since they're using shadow to make the liner here, unless the card says wet the brush to make the liner, the brush doesn't get wet. So we're gonna see how good it looks just going off the card. But yeah, that's what this was an attempt at. It took about 25 to 30 minutes. I have run into some issues with weepy eye, that's what I'm calling it, along the way, which you will get to see as we go along. So we're just pretending the left eye doesn't exist. We kind of, the right eye towards the end is really all that mattered. But yeah, so if you want to see if I totally screwed up this tutorial and how you can screw it up too, or hopefully make it better, keep watching. Well, first let me tell you exactly what the card says. These are all of the instructions verbatim. Sweep looky at my cookie from lash line to brow bone. Blend gumdrop into crease. Smudge Spice is Nice and figgy pudding into lower lash line. Create an ombre winged liner with Spice is Nice and gumdrop. That's it. Those are all of your instructions. So if you are a makeup noob like me, I mean, it's telling you to smudge 2 colors into your lower lash line. Do I do one at a time? Do I mix them together? Create an ombre winged liner. How exactly? You just layer them on top of each other, hope for the best. So again, this is one of those looks that for someone with no makeup knowledge is not going to turn out probably anything like the card, as we're about to see in a minute. The one thing I do, well, 2 things I want to watch, because after looking back at my first Tutorialista, I realized that I looked down a lot to read the card or to look for stuff. So you spend a lot of time looking at the top of my head, like so. So I'm gonna try not to do that. I'm gonna try to keep more of my face in the frame so I'm not talking like this where you only see my eyes. So I'm gonna try it zoomed out a little. When I'm reading from the cards and stuff, maybe try to hold them more up here so you're not staring at the top of my head. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, I just wanted to jump on here really quick while I'm going through all these disclaimers. In going through my footage, putting this together, I noticed that in an effort to keep everything up to where you're not just looking at the top of my eyes, or like this, because I'm always looking down all the time, I overcorrected a little too much. So in the first part of the video, there are going to be parts of the time where my eye is blocked by the palette, because I'm using it as a mirror because I'm trying to keep looking up so you're not just looking at the top of my head. I do catch it later on in the video, but for, you know, the first few minutes off and on, it does happen that the corner of the palette comes up and covers the eye that I'm working on. So, hey, this is like the second time I've done one of these videos. I am definitely learning as I go. So you don't hold it against me. I won't hold any mistakes against you. Deal? Deal. And the other thing I wanted to say before I got sidetracked at that is, since I did have a lot of trouble with fallout on the last one, but again, I was in a hurry and I hadn't really used the palette much, so I was just kind of slap dab hoping for the best, and they were all like really glittery colors. I'm going to try to take my time a little more, blend a little more, build up color a little more instead of just doing my slap dab method, which I love, but doesn't always work if you're trying to do artistry. So we're gonna see if maybe we can reduce the fallout amount, because there was a lot of fallout in the last one that I used this palette for, but a lot of those were glitter shades as well. So I'm sure some fallout was not avoidable, but I'm also sure that if I had tried a little harder, there wouldn't have been near as much. So we're gonna actually make an attempt to have as little fallout as possible. Very first step is going to be sweep looky at my cookie from lash line to brow bone. Not all the way up, but to the hood, and bring it out just a little. Okay, so again, that color went on and blended out like a dream without having to be preset. So these colors do seem to go on really well over a base without needing to be set first. Okay, next we have blend gumdrop into crease, like so. This step right here. We're trying to maintain that shape, so it kind of looks like it's more just kind of on the outer third to half, probably just mainly the outer third. For that, I'll be using my favorite brush, my lovely Sephora pointed crease brush. I think I could actually do my entire makeup with just this brush, or, you know, maybe with a couple of them, because eventually, you know, the color might get saturated. But for the most part, I think if I had just this type of brush, this brush right here, I could do everything that needed to be done with my eye makeup look. I love this brush that much. All right, gumdrop into crease. Trying to keep that more of a defined sharp edge without being too sharp. And I gotta come up off the crease a little. My eyelid skin is very saggy. If I just put it in the crease, you would not see that color. That'll work. And then to blend that out into that same general shape. And then I will do the same thing to the other eye. Okay, so my left eye is watering a little, but I just washed my face recently and put on moisturizer and stuff, and sometimes that does make my eyes water, especially my left one, so I'm having a little problem blending out the base at the bottom of my left eye right here, but that's just because it's damp there, so my brush keeps getting damp and then the shadow keeps sticking. Rest of it though, working pretty well. Sitting at 7 minutes now though. A lot of time for 2 shadows, but I'm taking my time and not just slapping it on there, and I so far have 0 fallout. But then again, these are all matte shades that I've used so far. I haven't used any of the sparkly ones. Yeah, see, it's all damp right there, and my eye just, this corner of my eye gets irritated so easily and then likes to water while I'm doing my makeup. So you can see right there along the edge, it just doesn't want to blend, but that's just because it's, no matter how much I blot it, it's damp there. The shadow's already damp, and then I have the saggy eye syndrome, and it's a little irritated. Right eye though, where I don't have that issue, everything seems to be working fine. We're going to go ahead and go on to the Create an Ombre Winged Liner with Spice is Nice and Gumdrop. Spice is Nice is kind of an orangey color, and Gumdrop is pink, so it looks like the Spice is Nice goes on first. Since I'm not putting any other color on my lid though, I think I should go back in. I've grabbed a different, fluffier brush. This is a Pro Drawing Blending brush from Sephora. Never heard of it. Number 42. Gonna try to blend this just a little better since I'm not putting another color over the top of it or even on my lid or anything. It's a bad day for that eye to wanna act up. Okay, so we're starting off with Spice is Nice because it's the orangey one. Yeah, it's actually going on really good without having to be wet or anything. But then again, I don't have any powder particularly on this part of my eye. So it's actually gripping directly to the primer potion. So, oh wait, was I holding that in front of my eye the entire time? I'm sorry. I'll get this figured out eventually. I will bring you a little more than half and you can blend. And then next is Gumdrop, which is that same color that pink color that I blended on there. I guess now we're just going in and making it more intense. Okay, this one isn't showing up near as much, but again, that's because this color is already on there. So the base that it's supposed to be sticking to isn't as tacky. This eye, oh my gosh, I have like a full drop. Of course, on Ombre Winged Liner Day, look, it's all completely gone there now. Oh well, that's where I'm about to stamp this as a liner, so maybe that'll show up good because it's still damp. Glad I had extra time today. So it doesn't really look too much like my picture at this point. I guess it's okay-ish. But when your eye won't stop watering, what do? Alright, so I am going to stop recording for a minute, go in and finish the rest of my makeup so I can come back and do the under eye and stuff, and maybe by that time my eye will have stopped causing me fits. We're at about 13:30 right now. Okay, so I gave my face about 5 minutes to rest. So what I did is I went in and after this kind of dried up a little, I went back and I took this brush and just tapped it into that Gumdrop color and then just kind of patted like here over where the damp spots had been and kind of blended it in a little. It only took me like maybe 30 seconds each eye, so I didn't bother recording it, just to kind of clean up that little area. And then I took a Q-tip and, you know, kind of cleaned up where I had gotten a little outside of the line and put the eye cream back on and sat down to do the rest of my makeup, and my eyes started watering again. I'm gonna sit here for another 5 or 10 minutes and then try to finish up my makeup. Okay, now for the next step, we are looking at smudge Spice is Nice and Figgy Pudding into lower lash line, which is, you can see it more there. So there's kind of more the purpley one on the inside, and that looks like they used the orangey one to smoke it out. So we do the purpley one first. I'm guessing that's Figgy Pudding because Spice is Nice is orange. And we're blotting. And we're blotting again. Figgy Pudding. Just going to use this little angled brush thing and see how this works. It's not exactly a smudgy brush, but let's make sure I'm in focus here. I don't think I quite got all the pink off because that's still a very pinky purple, but whatever. Oh, got a little touch of fallout with that one, but I didn't tap off my brush, so come on, anytime you want to focus, camera. I'd have to keep stopping and waiting for the camera to refocus. But since I'm not looking into the viewfinder the whole time, there's going to be bits where it's out of focus, and I didn't know it was out of focus because I was staring off like this, trying to fix my eyeshadow. Okay, so there's the purpley one. Where's that? Oh, Spice is Nice. Yes. We're good orangey color, and we're buffing. Oh my. That's a lot of orange up in there. I thought I tapped it off, but then again, yeah, alright. Messing around with the focus again, that's okay. And oh great, and it's wet. And it's wet, and it's watering, and the lash liner's wet. Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back into this pointed brush here and go back into that gumdrop and try to match up this outside a little bit better and kind of make that winged liner in between spots of my camera not focusing. Oh, there we go. Well, that looks more like it. But it's weird because it kind of looks like liner, and it kind of just looks like, since the base color is the same color, it kind of just looks like I didn't get it blended very well. Oh my gosh. Come on, water in the eye. Water in the eye, water in the eye. This is gonna look like crap with water in my eye. Okay. Now that one's just my fault because I just took that out way too far, but I was trying to get around the watery part. Didn't really matter, so. Let's blend. Oh, great. Now my blendy brush is even wet. That's not blending. Okay, let's just look at the right eye and pretend that one's okay. So we're gonna ignore this mess over here because you see all that nice moisture there. So we're just gonna ignore that corner of this eye. We're gonna call this eye the good eye. This is weird to me that there's nothing on the lid here. If I was doing this on my own without following a card, I definitely would have some color up in there. There we go. Stop unfocusing. So yeah, I definitely would have some color up in there if I was just doing it on my own. Okay, so let's finish the mascara and stuff and I'll be back. Okay, here's the finished look for Tutorialista number 2. It was the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice. I've lost my card. Here we go. Spice is Nice. That's what the picture looks like. This is what I look like. Now remember, we're ignoring the left eye because you can see it's still weeping, so this is just jacked up out here. It's not too bad though. So the right eye, it was better. I still think this could have been like darker here and there, maybe if I would have used some spray or something. I don't know. Whoops, wrong direction. Let's take it back. See, much better from a distance. Yeah, it was much better than yesterday's experiment / experience. There was almost no fallout, but then again, there were no shimmery or glittery shades used, and I would have put something here because that just, or at least even concealer or something, because that just, with not having a color there, and then this just kind of doing where it fades in, I obviously didn't do that near as well as the picture, but yeah. So this was Tutorialista number 2. Thanks for checking it out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!